I cannot believe I even have this to share with you today. In today's video, I'm gonna be sharing with you my first impressions of the Oura ring. Let's get right into it. Okay, this video probably comes as a surprise because I have not talked about this ring at all or anticipated getting this ring at all. It's a surprise for you, but it's also a surprise for me because, like I said, did not anticipate getting this ring anytime soon. A little context as to how I ended up getting it. So I have been eyeing the Oura ring for a really long time. I would say over 6 months, almost a year I've been looking at it, and I have been becoming obsessed with the idea of it. Of course, you all know I have the Google Pixel Watch 2, but there is a lot of appeal to the Oura ring that I'll talk about in today's video, and I just really wanted it. So I learned that you can actually get this ring covered by your FSA, like your health insurance credit debit card, and I was thinking I could probably do that next year, but I obviously have it right now, and that's because I went to Best Buy to get myself sized just for the funsies of it, and also to let Ian know that like I really do want this. I have been looking at it for a long time, and so what do you know, we're at the Best Buy, I'm getting sized for it, and Ian is just like, get it right now. So he ended up gifting it to me as a really early birthday gift, a month early, but here I am with it, and I'm so excited to share with you my first impressions of it. I do have the box still, of course, you know, I had to keep the box to share with you, but I've had the ring for a week now. So let's start with what's inside of the box so that you can see all of that good stuff. First of all, this is what the front looks like. I got the style Horizon, which is a nice flush style. I'll show you more of the actual ring. This is what it looks like right here on my index finger. So I got the style Horizon. The finish is gold, which is the most expensive one, of course, but I wanted gold because I like gold. And the size I went with is 8. I'm usually a 7 in ring sizes or 6.5, but I went with 8 because I knew that I was going to be wearing this 24/7, and I wanted to make sure that there was enough wiggle room in it so that it was comfortable. There would be enough wiggle room for all of that good stuff, and Oura Ring actually recommends that you do that. Okay, anyway, so that's the box, and in this little thing here, it's like hard plastic. This is where the charging cable was connected to, so it was wrapped up really nicely in this. In here, oh, and by the way, the ring itself, sorry, there's still packaging. The ring itself was kind of floating in this piece over here, and inside of this had like the user manual, paperwork, stuff like that. So that's essentially all that was in the box, if you were curious. Nothing too crazy, and no, it does not come with a brick for the charging cable. You have to have a brick. This is the ring. It is recommended that you wear it on your index finger, and I have seen so many people wear it on their index finger, and I think it looks nice there, but I have seen other people wear it on other fingers and it looks great there too. I personally took their advice of putting it on my index finger, and I really like how it looks. I actually have it on with another ring that's obviously just a regular ring, and you can see there's a slight color difference. This is a little bit lighter, brighter, and this one's on the more darker side, so just a heads up on that, but I don't mind at all. And like I said, I really like gold personally, but there were a bunch of different colors that you can choose from. There's like a black color, a steel kind of color, and then like a basic silver. I think silver is the cheapest one and gold is the most expensive one. But yeah, this is what it looks like. I'm gonna take it off so that you can actually see how thick or thin it is. I guess that's subjective. But you can see there are some ridges in the inside of the ring, and that's where all of like the tracking stuff is. There's also, I don't know if you'll be able to see this, but there's a tiny little indent in the ring, and that indent is to indicate where it should land on your finger. So that indent should always be on the inside of your finger. I actually didn't know that that was there before, so just a heads up that that's there. And it's actually really genius for them to put that there so that I know exactly how I'm putting the ring on and if I'm putting the ring on correctly. But that's what it looks like. It's very lightweight, which is a good segue into my impressions, my first impressions. I have a list of pros, I have a list of cons as usual, so let's jump in with the pros first. So the first pro I mentioned already, it is light. This thing is so light. I have some rings from standard jewelry stores that are not made of like solid gold or anything like that, and they are heavier than this. This is probably one of my lighter rings, and for the size of it, the way that it looks, you would think that it's heavier, but it is not. It is extremely light, which is really great because if you're wearing it constantly, you don't feel it. It doesn't feel like it's a burden on your hand. It doesn't start to like fatigue you or anything like that. And I'm someone that actually gets fatigued very easily when it comes to rings. Just my regular old rings, that sometimes I'll just take off my rings because they're bothering me that much. I haven't had that issue with this ring. Sometimes I fidget with it. Maybe that's just a me thing, but yeah, no fatigue at all, extremely light, and I personally think it's pretty. Most people think that it's pretty, but I have been seeing a lot of people online say that they actually don't like the style of it. It looks too bulky, it looks too plain, whatever it may be, but I personally love the way that it looks. I think it's stylish in my opinion, and I do know that a lot of people find that to be the most appealing thing about it. It's like a smart device that's appealing. So I am one of those people that thinks that it's appealing. I really like it. If you see it on my hand, just like on regular use, it looks really nice in my opinion. So that's a pro for me. Another pro is that the battery is incredible. I pulled this thing out of the box and I put it to charge, and I wanted to make sure that it was charged all the way to 100%. That was exactly 1 week ago, and I have never had this die on me in the entire week that I've used it so far. So what do? I typically put this to charge when I'm brushing my teeth and when I'm showering, just like I did with the Google Pixel Watch 2, which I still have, and I still do that. But that's essentially my charging practice procedure, and I've never had an issue. And a lot of the times when I do put this ring on the charging like dock, by the way, it looks like a dock, but a lot of the times I will put it on there to charge and it will be fully charged. And I'm like, how is that even possible? I've been wearing the ring all day long, I'm going to shower for the evening, and it's fully charged. I don't know, but it's incredible. Haven't had a single issue when it comes to the battery, and I will say that every time I do check, which I rarely check because it's not an issue, which I think is extremely convenient, it's always in the 90s. It's always in the 90%. So very, very happy with the battery. And for something like this, you want the battery to be really good like that. It's one less thing to worry about. Okay, the next pro that I have is that the data is extensive. Now, like I said, I've only had the ring for 1 week, but it has already compiled a ton of data for me, and I absolutely love the fact that it shares that much data. Some people are overwhelmed by that. Some people may not like that. Some people may get kind of intimidated at the amount of information, and none of it will actually absorb and feel helpful to you. But for me, it's extremely helpful. And I really wanted to go into my experience with the Oura Ring in hopes that it would be a much better and thorough experience in comparison to Fitbit, because I have the Google Pixel Watch 2, and that is synchronized with Fitbit. If you did not know, Google purchased Fitbit, so now Google Fit is essentially in connection with Fitbit. So that's where I was getting my health tracking and data from in the past, and there's a difference. That was my biggest question when I was going into getting this ring was, is it gonna be a big difference? It sounds very similar to the Fitbit data. It's not the same. It is far more extensive, it's far more thorough, and there's a lot more explanations, charts, and accessible information in the Oura Ring app that I think takes it to another level in comparison to the Fitbit app. The Fitbit app will have some extensive data, and to be honest, it's mostly just with the sleep, but they will never explain what the data means to a level that is actually useful. It's interesting and it's cool to read, but it was never actually something that I can act upon to improve or consistently stay in the actions that I'm taking, stuff like that. I hope that makes sense, but that is a huge pro to me because that was my biggest kind of qualm with it, especially seeing other people talk about it and them not having the knowledge to compare it to Fitbit or another health tracking device, if that makes sense. Like I said, I've only had it for 1 week, so there is still more to discover with this ring. They track certain things in the app, It needs to calibrate, it needs to get to know you a little bit longer. So I will have more to report as time goes on. And so I will definitely post a more thorough pros and cons review of this once I spend enough time with it. But for now, I think the data is incredible. Very, very impressed. Okay, and then the last pro that I have is not actually a pro, but it's something that I'm really hopeful for. It's the software. It's the software updates. So I get the impression that once you buy one of these Oura rings, once you have the hardware, you're pretty much set, and where the magic comes in is through the software. And that Oura, the brand, will just continuously strengthen their software and send those updates to hardware so that you have a better experience year over year. So I feel like I'm set with purchasing the ring. Okay, the software, what I'm hopeful for in particular is really, really advanced data that can help you keep track if you have certain medical conditions. So you all know with my I went to the ER for the first time video that I do have medical conditions. I do have severe allergies that can send me to the hospital. And I think it would be really cool if the ring could kind of sense with your heart rate, with your temperature, whatever it may be. It can sense when you're about to have an attack or if you're about to have a flare-up or whatever it may be when it comes to your medical condition. And it would send you a notification on your phone to be like, something's up. Just be mindful and aware that something could happen, because at least in my experience with the allergies, I tend to notice something kind of creeping up inside of me that something's gonna happen. Like I'll start to notice a slight breathing issue or a slight wheeziness or something like that, and I'll know to run and grab my nebulizer. But it would be even better to have my ring kind of track that for me, because say I'm in an environment where I'm not really paying super close attention to my breathing and wheezing. For example, if I was at a party, which this did happen, by the way, I was wheezing at a party and I couldn't really hear myself wheezing, so I wasn't sure if I was wheezing. Anyway, basically, I think it would be really cool if the ring was able to track things like that and just let you know and help you be aware of those things. And I think it's doable with the amount of tracking that it does and the things that they particularly track. I think it's possible. So I'm really looking forward to seeing that in the future. Fingers crossed that that's something, because that would be a major deal breaker for me whenever I'm recommending this item to someone. Okay, so those are my pros, first impressions. Those are kind of a lot for just having the ring for a week, but I was keeping a close eye so that I can report back. But moving on to the cons, I do have some cons. So the first one is my strength training issue. So when you do read through the manual of having the Oura ring, they say that you probably should take this off when you're strength training, when you're lifting weights, because of course it's a delicate item. If you're thinking about it, it's a ring that's made out of a delicate material. Delicate is a funny word. There's probably a better word, but you get what I mean. If you're lifting weights of a heavy material and a abrasive material, it's probably not smart to wear this ring when you're lifting those things, because it will scratch and damage the ring. And that kind of sucks, because I would like to track my exercise and my heart rate and my temperature while I'm strength training. And for me to take it off while I'm strength training is annoying. I haven't been doing that. I have been shifting the ring and putting it on my thumb when I'm lifting weights and just not using my thumb when I lift weights. That's probably not smart to do, but that's just my way of kind of bypassing that. But I think that's a con, because I think a lot of people would feel the same way as me in that area. The next con that I have is that I'm not seeing my step count be calculated accurately here. And that's something that's a big deal for me, because you all know with my Google Pixel Watch 2, I track my steps on that. And I actually put my watch on my ankle when I'm on my walking pad to make sure that I'm accurately getting my 10,000 steps a day, because I have a goal of reaching at least 10,000 steps a day. So that's important to me. And because obviously, my hand is static when I'm working and walking on my walking pad, it's not picking up the steps properly, which obviously makes obvious sense, but I can't put my ring on my ankle. It's a tricky thing, and I know it's very specific to me, but I do know that other people have reported that their activity tracking hasn't been 100% accurate. So just throwing that out there. And that leads into my last con, which is the ring not syncing to Google Fit. So it does have options in the settings to sync your Google Fit data into the Oura ring so that you have accurate tracking of your body movement, of your activity, whatever it may be. But when I go into my app and I try to sync my Google Fit to the Oura app, it's getting blocked. I think Google is marking it as spam, or they think it's spam. And so Google Fit is not allowing the access between the two apps. Maybe that's Google's fault, maybe that's Oura Ring's fault, but when I looked it up online, a lot of people were saying that that's Oura Ring's fault and that they need to send a patch, they need to send a software update so that you can successfully sync the data across different health tracking apps. So it's a con for now, and obviously it's a big con for me because I really want to have my activity accurately tracked so that I can get the proper data in my Oura app about like my readiness score and my activity score and whatever it may be. So it's a con for now, but with a simple software update, I feel like that's going to very easily not be a con anymore. So I'm just waiting for that, but I just wanted to make you all aware of that right now because that's what I'm noticing right now. Okay, y'all, I hope that was thorough enough for a first impressions video. It felt almost like a review, but like I said, there is so much more that I need to discover with this. I'll also say, overall, I do know that the Oura Ring has a subscription attached to it. I believe it's $5.99 a month. I have not been paying that just yet because I've only had it for a week and I get the first month free with purchasing the Oura Ring. So I'll let you know in my later actual review if it's worth the price. But right now in this given moment, $5.99 a month for the amount of things that it does, I think it's worth it. And I also am directly comparing this to Fitbit when Fitbit has a very large subscription fee as well. It's not monthly, I don't think. I think it's more so yearly. But even so, I have used Fitbit on the premium service in the past and it still doesn't compare. So in my opinion, I think the subscription is worth it, although I will just say, generally speaking, a subscription for something that is expensive as this is kind of ridiculous. But I will definitely pay for it because I have the ring, I want the subscription, I want the premium services, I want access to all the things, so I'm going to be paying for it. But that is how I'm going to end things off. I will also end things off by showing you the ring once more because I know that is the star of the video. I love this thing so much, but thank you so much for hanging out with me today. Let me know if you were surprised or if you did see me very, very quickly mention this on Instagram that I got the Oura Ring. I know a lot of people are going to have a lot of questions, so please feel free to leave any and all questions that you have for me down below. If you have an Oura Ring, let me know your experience. I have also learned recently that a lot of people around me have Oura Rings and they absolutely love them, so I would love to hear your thoughts, and I will talk to you in next week's video.